Hey YouTube, Red Quill here, and I'll be continuing my Dead by Daylight webcomic vlog series. This time I'll be going over pages 9 and 10. So, for page 9, I start off showing the members of Legion after a night of robbing the town of Orman. And I also do some foreshadowing with the entity being involved. And finally finish the page with Frank daring Joey to go ahead and vandalize the store he used to work at. For the first panel, I wanted to show all the members of Legion in kind of a relaxed state, still enjoying the early stages of their adventures of harassing the town. I like doing this just because, for one, it kind of shows like, hey, they actually were people who hung out together before they became characters in the Dead by Daylight game. And as always, I'll need practice just doing dynamic poses. So I got to show different characters doing different things, like Julie stretching, Joey just walking around with a nice TV he's stolen, Frank just relaxing on his bat, and of course Susie counting money. I really like how the transition between panel 1 and panel 2 turned out. From the Legion members just walking in the woods from panel 1 to the zoomed out sky view shot with the entity being shown in kind of as a foreground character. I think it's a nice foreshadowing of how the story's going to end. It makes for some cool perspective shots. I have a future comic planned on some more original characters, and I'm going to need to do several perspective shots in the woods, kind of similar to this one, so this was good practice for me. I wish I probably should have spent a little more time cleaning up how the entity looks in panel 2. I know that on the little tentacles, he's got little red spikes in a lot of versions of or at least a lot of the shots I've seen of him in the game, or her, who knows. But I didn't really like how this entity looks in this panel so much, so I might, on my own time, on just some scratch paper, practice how I'm gonna draw the entity at the end of the story, just to make it look a little better. I like the faint cracks of red that I showed in the tentacles. It's really just how the red spikes coming off look that kind of bothers me. But also, what I do like about panel 2 is I like kind of the faded, or the blurred branches that I did. I think it kind of almost makes it look like a camera lens focus, at least that's in my opinion. But so I think I'll try and remember this if I ever have to do panel shots that with this perspective again moving forward. Now for panel 3. So this one's kind of fun to do just because I get to work on making reflections with Joey here, and I also kind of had to make at least a semi-important decision, I think, on what store Joey and the rest of Legion are actually going to be vandalizing. Because in the original lore, all that's said is that it's just the store Joey used to work at. And so I looked back, because I remember there was a store also mentioned in the Survivor Jeff's lore. And it was just a video store, it didn't seem to have like too much importance to the story, which store I chose to pick, but I went ahead and just made a video store based on what I read from Jeff's lore as well, since that was the only store officially specified in any Town of Orman related lore for Dead by Daylight. So after coming up with what kind of store the Legion would be vandalizing and writing a quick name for it, I got to just enjoy my favorite part of making comics, which is just the detail work. I like how the glare on the windows turned out. To me, it actually looks semi-realistic for glass. And I think I did a pretty good job on Joey's reflection. All I really did was just change the opacity values of a second drawing of Joey I did for that panel. But yeah, I think overall this page does a pretty good job. I feel like it kind of covers a lot of things for the story, both like again just characterizing that the members of the Legion actually hung out together and were enjoying their time as Legion, foreshadowing for the entity moving forward, and already setting up for the main event that kind of leads to the I wouldn't call it the fall of Legion because they kind of get their own game after this, but it leads into the finale. I'll just put it that way. So for page 10, I both really like this page, and I'm also a little, I guess, sad about it. I do like how a lot of the shading turned out, especially so Legion's broken into the video store that was mentioned in page 9, and they're really just kind of destroying the inventory and vandalizing the building. And I really like the indoor shading I did, with it being a little brighter towards the door and window, and then darker everywhere else. But I guess what I'm disappointed about is I wish I had more time to add more details to the store, because it looks a little empty. I think it would have been nice to either have like more rows of shelves of videos, or I don't know, I guess maybe some promotional stands, because it does feel kind of like just an empty room with a couple shelves of videos just flown around. But as usual, for the later pages that I make during my work week, I get kind of rushed, and then it kind of comes down to how much time do I want to put into one page. Because to me, it's important to kind of stick to a schedule just so I don't spend too long in any one project. I also think I could have been a little bit more dynamic with the poses I chose for, particularly, I guess in this case, the large drawing of Julie in the center of the page, and the small one of Susie in the first panel. They're kind of just it's like the most basic pose you could do for anyone in drawing. But for this one, like, I'd kind of fallen behind again, so I had to do relatively quick implementation. I don't think it looks bad per se, but it could be more expressive if I had the characters moving around a little more. But overall, though, again, when it comes to like the actual details of really any of the panels, I do like how it turned out. Like the zoomed out shot of the building in panel 1, to me, I know the bricks aren't like perfectly aligned. I didn't get a ruler to draw the little highlights for each brick, but to me it still looks pretty nice, and I think it at least keeps up a relative standard for this comic of how this I guess the quality of the background, so I think I did okay on it. And I guess one thing I do want to note before I stop talking about this page is the character on the bottom right corner. So this is going to be the cleaner, who's an unfortunate first victim of Legion. And for his character design, so I've heard a lot of people, I think, theorize that this is actually Jeff's dad from Jeff's lore. And Jeff is a survivor, by the way, for those who don't know. But so in Jeff's lore, he comes back to the town of Orman because his father died. While in Legion's lore, it's mentioned that they end up killing a cleaner at this store. And so a lot of people, I think, just assume that Jeff's dad is the cleaner. So I didn't want to make it a carbon copy of Jeff. So I gave him a different hair color and beard color. But I did kind of base it. I did definitely use Jeff as a reference. So he could at least look close enough to Jeff to be his father. I'll kind of let the reader decide if they want that fan theory to stay true. Although I think it's pretty obvious that they're implying that this is Jeff's father. So yeah, I feel bad for him, but at least it was fun doing a easy character design. His little, I guess, shirt is meant to be kind of like a denim jacket. I know it doesn't really look like denim, but hey, at least I'm getting more blues. Blue's a nice color, so I'll take it for what I can get. But yeah, so this has been pages 9 and 10 of the Legion webcomic, and I'll continue working on it till it's done. Thanks for watching, and I'll post another video next week. Have a good one.